The year is 1700. New York does not yet exist. 7,000 souls crowd a narrow colonial port. Coopers, blacksmiths, candlemakers, clinging to the southern tip of a wild island. Wooden wharves, muddy lanes, a world governed by the fort, the counting house, and the church. What vanished across 326 years? The lanes, the labor, the lives. Our AI reconstruction is pulling back from the silence of history, one decade at a time. 12 eras, 3 centuries, one island's complete transformation. Starting now. But the city our reconstruction reveals does not remain quiet for long. By the middle of the 18th century, something is shifting beneath the cobblestones. Step inside any tavern along the waterfront, the Black Horse, the Burns Coffee House, and the air is thick not only with pipe smoke and hard cider, but with dangerous words. Liberty, taxation, rights. Tradesmen and merchants lean across scarred wooden tables, and what they are debating will tear this colonial world apart. Then comes the fire. Then comes the occupation. British redcoats march through these same narrow streets our reconstruction has already shown you. And for 7 long years New York belongs to the crown once more. Families flee. Neighborhoods hollow out. The wooden structures that once hummed with daily commerce are reduced to ash and silence. Yet what follows is perhaps the most remarkable chapter of all. Within a generation, the hammers return. Carpenters and masons push the city's grid northward, block by deliberate block. The Republic is new, fragile, and hungry, and it has chosen this harbor, this island, as the stage upon which its ambitions will be announced to the world. And then the furnace ignites. What our reconstruction captures next is a city unrecognizable from the quiet colonial port where we began, and yet unmistakably the same restless, striving place. Canal boats arrive heavy with grain from the interior. The harbor never sleeps. Dockworkers unload cargo in shifts that begin before sunrise and end long after dark, their breath visible in the cold morning air above the East River. In the lower wards, the tenements rise, cramped, airless, and overflowing. German, Irish, and Italian families press 5 to a room, sharing a single privy on the landing. Factory girls stitch ready-made coats by gaslight for wages that barely cover the rent. On the streets below, vendors hawk hot corn and oysters from steaming carts, their voices layering into a chorus of a dozen languages. The omnibus clatters up Broadway on iron wheels. Aldermen argue endlessly over sewers while cholera moves silently through the water supply, taking entire blocks in a matter of days. This is a city growing faster than it can govern itself, magnificent and merciless in equal measure. Our reconstruction does not sanitize this chaos. It restores it, exactly as it was. By the final decades of the 19th century, the city our reconstruction traces has crossed a threshold from which there is no return. On Hester Street, the pushcart markets stretch as far as the eye can see, a corridor of noise, negotiation, and survival. Housewives pinch loaves of bread to test their freshness. Merchants shout prices in Yiddish, Italian, and Greek simultaneously, their voices competing with the metallic thunder overhead as elevated railway trains scatter sparks down onto the cobblestones below. Climb 6 flights of a 7th Avenue loft building and you will find garment workers bent over sewing machines for 10 hours at a stretch, assembling piece by piece the clothing that a prospering nation demands. At the factory gates below, labor organizers pass leaflets with quiet urgency, planting seeds that will reshape the relationship between worker and industry for generations. And yet above it all, the skyline is changing. Steel skeletons rise over midtown building sites, story by story, defying every previous limit the city had accepted. Uptown, brownstone-lined streets serve a different world entirely, quieter, prosperous, insulated. 2 million people, dozens of languages, one impossible, magnificent island pressing itself toward the sky with everything it has. But every city that rises this fast must eventually reckon with the weight of its own transformation. What our reconstruction reveals in the middle decades of the 20th century is a city simultaneously at its most powerful and most fragile. Inside the Brooklyn Navy Yard, women in overalls rivet aircraft parts with a precision and determination that the pre-war world never anticipated. Their wages buy something beyond groceries, they buy independence, and the city absorbs this quietly and permanently. Then the men come home, and almost immediately, families begin to leave. Trucks loaded with furniture roll toward the outer boroughs and beyond, chasing space and quiet and something that feels like arrival. Into the apartments they vacate come new voices. Puerto Rican and black Southern families reshape Harlem, Bedford-Stuyvesant, and the South Bronx block by block, storefront churches, record shops, and stoop culture redefining what neighborhood life means in this city. Then the fracture deepens. By the 1970s, garbage accumulates along curbs during sanitation strikes. Landlords abandon buildings to fire and decay. Residents form block watches armed with nothing but brooms and determination. Our reconstruction does not look away from this. Because in the rubble, in the resilience, an entirely new culture is being forged on the stoop. And so we arrive at the final chapter of our reconstruction, the one that connects every era we have walked through to the city that stands before us today. The bodega owner rolls up his steel shutter at 5 in the morning, exactly as his predecessor did a generation before him. Across the street, a former warehouse breathes again as studios for artists who heat their floors with portable radiators and fill the walls with something the neighborhood has never quite seen before. Cab drivers from Senegal and Bangladesh navigate routes their fathers never imagined, while delivery workers on bicycles cut through every kind of weather without pause. The waterfront that once smelled of tar and salted fish is where families walk on Sunday afternoons now, the old shipyard crane still watching over everything, silent witnesses to 3 centuries of reinvention. Rents press outward. Longtime residents pack their lives into storage units and carry their memories to newer boroughs, newer cities. Yet what our reconstruction ultimately reveals, across every era, every upheaval, every transformation, is this: the essential act of New York has never changed. Stranger meets stranger. Something is made from the contact. And the city, perpetually unfinished, perpetually becoming, carries every one of its lost worlds quietly within it, right up to this very moment.